On this day in 2017, Hurricane Harvey blew into the Gulf Coast, causing over $100 billion in damages and forever changing Houston's housing landscape. I'm Jennifer Godwin, and this is the first edition of Behind the Lease, Stories from a Property Manager. As a property manager, I've always liked to be proactive and prepared, but there are some things you just can't prepare for. As the storm loomed closer, forecasts predicted severe flooding. Store shelves emptied quickly, and schools were canceled with no new start date. As the rain continued to fall, it was obvious the forecasts were no exaggeration. I kept dumping my rain gauge as it filled, and when Harvey finally stopped hovering, I had personally logged 56 inches of rain. During this time, I was still working for my previous company, and we spent days trying to find routes to check all the homes we managed. When we finally could assess the damages, we had 5 homes that were totally destroyed. I worked with insurance companies, spending weeks documenting and trying to salvage whatever we could. This is where having an experienced property manager can make a huge difference. But experience alone isn't enough. You have to truly care about the property and what it represents to both the owner and the tenant. In this situation, tenants also lost everything, so having compassion is very necessary. You want to get the house emptied as soon as possible to prevent the rapid growth of mold, but you also just can't go in there and bulldoze the tenant's belongings. We helped one of our elderly tenants find anything salvageable, and at another home, I fished out, fish from the swimming pool. My husband and I climbed over piles of molded furniture to find precious jewelry for another tenant, and we worked alongside volunteer groups to muck out a property that suffered some of the worst damage. The water at this property was over 6 foot high in some places. It took 2 weeks just for the streets to drain enough that we could even access the house. The mold growth was unbelievable, and smells were even worse. Picture stagnant water from the nearby sewage processing plant mixed with the rotten food in the floating refrigerator. Yes, my friends, refrigerators float in the floodwaters, despite being completely full of nasty water, rotting food, and yet 20 complete strangers stood shoulder to shoulder with us and helped us empty out this home. It helps to show how tragedy can bring people together to accomplish impossible tasks. I cataloged thousands of pictures and spent hundreds of hours putting claims together and working with adjusters. Eventually, all of our managed homes were repaired or sold, and my pink rubber boots, respirator, and gloves were no longer a staple of my wardrobe. Kids went back to school after several weeks and store shelves resupplied. And we even adopted one of the hundreds of displaced animals found in floodwaters. And ironically, he actually grew up to love swimming.